Welcome into DC On Screen, a show about the DC Universe properties being brought to film and television. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This, as always, my co-host, Jason Gost.
Hiya.
We are a spoiler-filled show. Just want to remind you guys of that. If it has been released, it is fair game to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Up
it also
front,
technically qualifies as a spoiler about our show.
It is. That's
Meta.
clever. Isn't it pronounced meta?
I'd like to do it differently sometimes.
Okay,
That's
fair enough.
a meta joke about the word meta.
So, I've been super busy this week, guys, or last couple weeks, but I talked about this earlier. Next time, the Comic Book Prediction Podcast, I was in two separate episodes. They are both online now. One is for Batman the Killing Joke. It's a review. It's actually just me defending the movie against Scott Madison, pretty much. I mean, you know, I got in some digs, but still.
I mean, no offense, Scott, but I stand by Dave on principle.
And then in another episode, we gushed about Star Trek Beyond for like an hour.
Ah, okay. I don't blame you.
Then I was on Sean Ray's.
Me and you almost
Sean
did
Ray's
that, and I don't have nearly enough Star Trek cred to gush about it for an hour. But I thought it was a great movie.
Then I was on Sean Ray's podcast. Sean Ray of the Cosmic Potato Network. We were on his show, The Prime Direction, which is a show that where he interviews someone and they talk about the impact Star Trek has had on their life. So I did an episode of that, and he posted it yesterday. So that is up, and you can find all of those things on DCOnScreen.com. They're not going to show up in our feed if you subscribe on iTunes, but if you pop over to DCOnScreen.com, you'll find them. If you're interested, if you're not already sick of hearing me talk about Star Trek enough on this show, there you go.
In order, people are sick of hearing me talk about Futurama, then probably us talk about Firefly.
Me talk about Buffy and Star Trek.
You talk about Buffy, me agree with you mostly on Buffy, and then after that, I think it kicks down to you're probably fourth on the list as far as annoying.
Right. Hope so. So, real quick, I do want to remind you guys, we are doing a new promotion. Give us 5-star rating and review on iTunes, and you will be entered into a contest. For every 10 5-star reviews we receive on iTunes, we'll randomly select one of the listeners to win a trade paperback or Blu-ray, DVD, whichever, for $15 or less. Now, if you're not in the United States, we will honor it, but you have to let us know that you wrote a review because it doesn't show up on our iTunes store.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of countries to check every day, and I'm not doing that. So.
Yeah, it's logistically impossible for us. I apologize.
And we already have 5 reviews, and we're going to go into those later in the show.
Going strong.
What we refer to as the Bat Wieners segment. We'll talk about that there.
And still not apologize for that phrase.
And still not apologize at all. We're not sorry.
No.
One more thing before jumping in. We are sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate, if you don't know, monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. Less than $20 a month. You get 6 to 8 items. Licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, one-of-a-kind items, and more. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So lootcrate.com/giant size team up and enter code giant size team up to save, $3 off of any new subscription?
I believe it is.
Yeah. This month is Anti-Hero Month. So, God, you gotta get DC Comic stuff, probably some Suicide Squad stuff, Archer, Dark Horse, Kill Bill. Man, you got a lot of stuff going on there. So, check that out. And we're going to jump into some news right the hell now.
Mm-hmm.
So, how about that Batman Arkham VR trailer?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I still want the full-fledged trailer of more footage of the game because there's probably it's 2 minutes of footage and there's about 10 seconds of the game.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes of footage, but it's all of people who tried it out and are looking absolutely beside themselves because they can't live in this world forever.
Yeah. It's a mockery, frankly, of our own personal existence. But I look forward to that mockery.
The bit that got me was the guy talking about, as I put on the helmet, I could see, Batman. I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm watching me put on the mask. Yeah. And I was like, oh. It's man.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
Awesome.
I mean, I want to play the hell out of that thing. I'm also... Oh, come on, guys. Get us some footage. It comes out in 2 monds.
Yeah.
Isn't it October 16?
Oh, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even look. I'm a terrible host.
Maybe it was October 17, and I can wait for more. Anyway, looks fun as hell.
Yeah, it does. So, you've probably heard a lot about this, but Suicide Squad. Looks like their earnings fell 67% during their second weekend. It did remain number one, but it was against, Sausage Party. So,
so it just defaulted.
Now, Adam Chitwood at Collider, he did prepare something for us. It was a chart that compared Suicide Squad with a few of the other movies, a few other superhero movies, to see what their drop-off was. Batman v Superman had a 69% drop-off in the second weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The new Fantastic Four had a 68% drop-off. Suicide Squad had 67. Man of Steel had 64. Amazing Spider-Man 2 had 61. Avengers Age of Ultron had 59. Civil War had 59. Ant-Man had 56. And Winter Soldier had 56. So, not terribly different. Still kind of bad.
That's
but not
literally, we're talking
different.
about, on the outside, a 10% difference between some of the most hailed and some of the most berated films that have come out.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to drop 56% on your second weekend. Sorry, brother. It's happening.
Oh, he also had Guardians of the Galaxy listed here, 55%, and Iron Man, 48%.
All right, so Iron Man at 48 is coming in right now as the leader, and that's still only about 14 points off from the average of the supposedly bad films. I mean, granted, 10 or 13 points, yeah, that's a real thing, but making the headline, it dropped 67%. I might as well reread that as, everyone thought it was worth seeing on the first weekend.
Yeah. So Suicide Squad topped the foreign box office with $58.7 million from 15,600 screens, 62 territories. Globally, it's made $465.4 million. Oh, no.
These are not shabby figures.
No, it's not.
It's
not.
No one's selling their stock in Warner Brothers right now based on the second weekend films.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
I don't even know if they're a public company. I really don't.
Nah.
Forgive my fiscal ignorance.
So it looks like what we talked about last week. Suicide Squad is not going to be released in China. They did try to retitle it Task Force X to appease the Chinese government, but apparently that didn't work. China does like to censor stories with negative outlooks on life. They don't like supernatural movies. So apparently they do release they put out their release calendar like 2 months in advance, and WB hasn't gotten any word that the film is going to be on the slate. So yeah, it looks like it's been axed, man. It looks like it's gone.
Oh well. Hey,
which is going to take like $100 million away from the gross.
It hurts. It hurts, but that'll just teach them something about retitling their movies.
Why?
They don't like the word suicide in the title.
Yeah, but that's why they changed it to Task Force X.
But that wasn't enough after they had already pitched it.
Well, no.
You just title it like
so what?
Hope Team X when you first do it, and this shit's on it's being played in China right now, or 2 months from now.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been. Having seen the movie, if they actually looked at the movie at all, they would be like, no.
As far as supernatural goes,
supernatural stories.
I feel like Harry Potter probably made it into China.
I don't know.
The numbers on that are so grand that I would be willing to bet. It just made so much damn money.
I wouldn't know.
I look it up in the background while you're going.
Fair enough. So last week I talked about it briefly because it seemed like one of those things that could just be a complete and utter lie. Looks like it's probably true now. There was an article by the Hollywood Reporter that there was a lot of ruckus behind the scenes on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And they talked about how Kevin Tsujihara, the CEO, announced Suicide Squad in like October of 2014, and they referred to it as a sprint from the start to meet the August 2016 release date. They said that Ayer wrote the script in like 6 weeks, and that there were like multiple cuts, and that they brought in the company that did the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer
to help at the end.
Trailer Park to come in and re-edit the movie, and basically that there were a couple of different versions of the movie, and then they compromised, and that there was, when the compromising points didn't really meet with what they had shot, they actually went back and shot more for humor. Looks like that's all kind of true now. So it might not be completely, but it looks like that was a thing. The final editor was Michael Tronick now, instead of John Gilroy, who was credited. And They say that a lot of panic and ego was there in trying to address the tonal issues. That Ayer fired his longtime agent, he hired a new one, and then decided to go back to his old one a day later. They do stress that he was under a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Silverman, production president at Warner's, said, "This was an amazing experience. We did a lot of experimentation and collaboration along the way, but we were both very proud of the result. This is a David Ayer film, and Warner's is proud to present it." THR says that one insider told them that the movie's got to do $750 million, $800 million even, to break even. If they get anywhere close to that, they'll consider it a win, which is a ridiculous amount of money to expect
to
out of this.
Consider something a win even after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only about $200 million off our goal. Pop some champagne. I'm looking at a couple numbers, and in the top 25, it does look like it will cost them an average of 80-ish, maybe a little higher if you take away from some of the positive skewing. An average of 80 million-ish it'll cost them to open in China. But we're talking Avengers, The Mermaid, Captain America, Transformers, Iron Man 3, Warcraft for God's sake, X-Men Apocalypse, Transformers again, Batman.
How the hell did Warcraft get over there?
Something called Dragon Blade. I'm sorry, Supernatural is not the problem here. The Hobbit is number 34.
Fantasy. Yeah, maybe maybe I don't know. That's weird.
It's just that can't be. There's some nuance I'm not getting. Something called Dragon Blade feels very sorcerish.
But Charles Roven,
one just called Devil and Angel. Anyway,
gosh, well, all I know is what I've read, man.
I understand.
Charles Roven, EP for Suicide Squad, did confirm that. He said, yes, there were a couple of different cuts of the movie, but they all really had to do with finding the final shape of the movie. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's not the first time something like this has happened, and it won't be the last. Did I say last time? Won't be the first time, and it won't be the last.
No, we know what you're going for.
I don't know what I said.
This happens a lot.
He says, so sometimes, in order to get the work done, you really just have to bring on more people and spend really long days and nights getting work done to get it ready, in reference to bringing on more people to re-edit the movie. In talking about Leto's Joker scenes being cut out, he says David Ayer shoots a tremendous amount of footage, and when it comes to things having to do with the Joker, Jared does many takes, and all the takes are very, very different. And sometimes the scenes can go on for a very long time, and sometimes the scenes can be, when you're more on page, tighter, etc. Sometimes those impromptu scenes are fantastic, sometimes they're not. That's all part of the process. What you don't want to do is you don't want to limit the process. So
that sounds right, though. I mean, to some extent, you want to keep Yes and going during, shooting, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would think, that Hollywood Reporter article talked a lot about, I don't know, just a whole lot of pressure on David Ayer. So,
I don't doubt it.
I don't know. Oh, sure,
yeah,
sure.
I mean,
he even said so a few months ago in an interview. But
Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman had somehow failed, and he had a squad full of heathens to somehow make this work.
So anyway, that is all pretty standard based on everything I've heard about movies in general, like big tentpole movies in general.
No, especially the tentpoles. Yeah, I mean you just keep working on it till you think it's there. And yes, that means a lot of sleepless nights for the people that actually put these things on.
Sure.
Hell, they're doing better than people who make games. Oh my God, read some of the horror stories about the people who actually put out games. Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag, talks here about negative reviews for Suicide Squad. He says he read a couple of the reviews, but didn't enjoy reading them, so he stopped. He says they were not kind.
It's well summed up.
He says you always hope to get good reviews. It's always nicer when people say nice things about you. But on a film like Suicide Squad, it really only has an ambition to entertain. There's no big political aspirations about the film, which I kind of disagree with, but okay. It doesn't take itself that seriously. The only way it takes itself seriously is in portraying these characters in an honest way. I really think we did that, and I'm proud of my work and everyone else's work in that film too. So on a film like this, that has those kinds of ambitions, it becomes even more important what the fans think. We made this film for the fans. I can't remember ever seeing a bigger disparity between reviewers and fans' response to a film. It really was night and day. We've just been showered with love and appreciation for this, so it's been pretty phenomenal. Sure, the film is not perfect, but the kind of vitriol that it got, it sure as hell didn't deserve that. I think it actually might have been good for the film. now people don't have too high expectations for it. It reset that a little bit, and people went to the theaters and just got entertained by what they saw. So I was really happy with how that whole thing turned out.
Yeah, I agree with them on a lot of those points.
That's a nice way to look at it, even if it is kind of wrong.
No, it is right. I mean, there are people that will, still think, the reviews are bad. I'm not going to waste my time on that. And it's bad timing because, I mean, if you're worried about the reviews, Star Trek got good reviews. So if you just got one movie in you, yeah, it's gonna siphon some of your sales off. But as far as enjoyment goes, I completely agree with them on that. The film got hyped beyond repair. And I said this before. It is just a movie after all, a perfectly serviceable one, but just a movie.
Yeah.
I do, and we haven't said this before, but have you heard anyone say anything about his performance? Because I haven't heard anything but good things about his performance, or at least not hearing it mentioned.
Yeah, I haven't heard really anyone talk about Joel Kinnaman at all.
Not one person has gone, and fuck Rick Flag. That hasn't happened.
They also haven't said Rick Flag was great.
I
think
if it falls right in the middle on an ensemble cast, isn't that kind of, good job, son?
Yeah, I guess so. It's a little like Bill McNeil in News Radio when he was called adequate in that review, and started acting like it was like the greatest compliment ever.
Yes.
He's like, "You're just jealous of my adequacy." It's not a word. It is now.
It is now. Yeah.
Anyway, so answering the question of why Slipknot was his backstory was cut out of the movie, Ayer explains. Yeah, we shot a backstory, but after a point it became overloaded, so you have to cull and pick and choose your battles, and Slipknot got his head blown off pretty quick, so I made a commitment early on to not try to create some kind of misdirect, because when you have that many characters, every frame of real estate is priceless, and I didn't want to invest in that real estate to create some misdirect, because after opening night, everyone knows he dies anyway.
I mean, is it terrible that I kind of completely agree with that? By Thursday at 11 o'clock, we all knew for sure. I mean, we all knew for sure before. Right. We all had a 98.5% certainty going in. The only reason it wasn't 100% certainty was because we thought, well, what if there's a misdirect? Yeah.
Ayer was asked about these previous interviews where Adam Beach said that he was caught. The reason he went to Bel Rev was because he was caught strangling Wonder Woman,
which was cute.
And David Ayer says, that might be more about his sort of personal journey to get into the character more than anything. But I guess it does make sense if it's a rope guy.
Right.
I can see where he would make those connections.
Very roughly, it's I totally didn't authorize that, but I dig it. I mean, that works.
That's his own weird thing. I don't know anything about it. So if you want to quote him on that, but no.
Got nothing against it, I guess, in theory.
But... So there's a report out there that Courtney ran around naked on set.
I am willing to believe that on this set.
Joel Kinnaman said one of his fondest memories for the movie was, he says, my favorite was when David Ayer walked into Jai Courtney's trailer and me and Jay Hernandez were in there. Jai was in the shower and he came out with a towel around him. David was like, oh shit. Jai dropped the towel and Jay said, sick 'em, boy. So David ran out
what else do
and
you
Jai
say?
chased him around. Jai chased him around the studio parking lot, as he puts it, butt naked, Terminator style.
There you go.
David ran for his life, but he got away.
It's an on-set game called Escape the Snake.
Yeah. Now, I mean, speaking of Escape the Snake,
Hide and Snake.
There's another report. Actress Adrienne Bellemare, who apparently had a role as a stripper in the movie and was actually ultimately cut from the film, claims that Jared Leto sexually harassed her on the set. She said that he would often rub his crotch outside of his pants and growl at her before the director called action. She says he wasn't trying to hide it or anything. He did it every time he walked past me.
It feels really in character. But it's probably wrong to do before they actually say action, Jared.
Yeah.
I get what you're going for there, but... Yeah. And I don't want to say a little bit of class to the guy that's trying to method act freaking Joker.
Yeah, she says, there was apparently in the film...
But avoid extra legal circumstances, for God's sake.
In a cutscene, he was supposed to have called her his muse.
Ah, okay.
She says she laughed off the him doing it several times. She laughed it off, but it got weird after a while. She says, "I'm not a prude. I'm easygoing, but it was creepy. It took me completely off guard." She said he also belittled several extras, telling them they should feel lucky to be in his presence.
That again feels right for the character.
Yeah, and she says that. She does say that
Dick moved to the actual humans
aware.
around you.
Right. She just says that she still thinks he crossed the line and crossed it plenty of times.
Probably did.
Even though she's like, I have a great deal of respect for method acting, but you can't hide behind your craft. You have to be respectful of your fellow cast and crew. But then she did say, as disappointed as I am with my scene with the Joker was not included in the final cut, my heart truly goes out to Jared Leto, whose devotion to his character was so obvious on set it literally freaked me out. It must be devastating to watch your hard work and dedication whittled down to just 15 minutes of screen time. With that being said, working opposite of Mr. Leto was an opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm appreciative to have had the chance to learn from such an inspirational talent.
Yeah.
Representatives for Leto have said that there is absolutely no truth to her allegations. So,
I was really hoping he'd come out and go, "Yeah, I kind of did that. Sorry, I went a little far."
Right.
No idea what she's talking about. I don't remember anything. I was the Joker the whole time. Ask me next time I'm on set as the Joker if I remember that. We'll talk then.
Your Honor, my client was not present during the time the client claims the her allegations took place. What do you mean? He was standing right there. We've got footage of him. Your Honor, my client was not present.
My client was only partially taking part in reality at the time. He, in effect, was the Joker. Now, if you'd like to press charges against the Joker, I can see if I can find him for you, but unless they have a Suicide Squad 2, you may not be able to press charges.
Please stop having your client hit everything with that stick. What is he doing? He's playing a blind man in his next film, Your Honor.
Yes.
That's where he's got the sunglasses and he's got the stick. And
what about the dog? He just likes the dog, really.
So, David Ayer explained some stuff about Joker's damaged tat and his grill. He says, this is sort of my personal thing and maybe less about a larger connection, but Joker killed Robin and Batman basically smashed his teeth out and locks him up in Arkham Asylum. It's in the asylum where Joker would have done the damaged tattoo as a message to Batman saying, "You've damaged me. I was so beautiful before, and now you've destroyed my face." That's where the grill comes from.
I was really happy with that.
I thought it was interesting, but I would have rather have seen it. I'd
rather have seen it, but I didn't want to see it necessarily in this movie because, like so many things, it would have messed with the plot. Like I would have been, as soon as they showed me that, I would have wanted a death in the family plot. Fuck the Suicide Squad at that point.
I kind of disagree.
I would have been super distracted for the rest of the film.
I think if we had seen J.K. Simmons as Gordon, maybe a Harvey Bullock. Just hear like snippets of what happened as they wheel him in. Don't make Harley a part of the killing, but Batman having smashed Joker's teeth in. That's one of the big that's one of the big moments that makes her feel bad for him and sorry for him. Makes him fall for it.
Oh yeah,
makes her fall for it.
One of the moments where she I know what you mean, and that would have been fine. Yeah. And if you try to make it a Harley scene, that could work. But it would be so interesting as a Joker-Batman scene, and there'd have been so much holy shit, that's how Robin went out. Like, so the confirmation of that alone would have been so distracting in the course of that movie that you'd have had to make Joker part of the climax of the movie. And if you did that, you've really got to add another 20, 30 minutes worth of movie for me to feel like I got enough Joker out of it. And I already don't feel like I got enough Joker out of it.
I'd have been okay with a 3-hour cut of this film.
I would have been perfectly happy with a 3-hour cut of this film. But it seemed like you either had to do all of it or none of it. Like, if you gave me 2 more minutes where that scene happened, I would be wanting other thing. And that's just part of how this cookie was going to crumble. It's an ensemble cast. You included somebody as big as the Joker. You made him basically a supporting character. I mean, really, guest star hardly covers it. Star seems like too big a word for his actual film presence in this thing.
Yeah.
I can kind of get by the guy that said false advertising.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he should have been cracked some deal with Enchantress. Joker should have actually been revealed to be like the big bad of the movie, like pulling the strings of Succubus and Incubus.
Oh hell, I mean, have him crack some deal with Amanda Waller. that's one of the reasons he's able to break in and get Harley afterward. She can keep the rest of the team, and he'll stop harassing her, and if she'll just give up this one person.
It would be great if, like...
It'd be hard to do that with the wall, though. You'd think she'd just shoot him in the head, right?
Yeah. No, that wouldn't happen. But if he was somehow trying to, like, he'd made a deal with Succubus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then shit goes awry. She's like, you fool. And they're clearly more powerful than Joker. And, like, he just laughs his ass off when he realizes the world is going to end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that feels, you know, Jokerish.
Him laughing at the fact that, I may have gone too far this time, and thinking it's hilarious.
Yep.
Oh, finally did it.
Anyway.
Crap. Well, there's my punchline, you know?
So speaking of Joker, Jared Leto says he wants the Joker to mess with Superman.
Of course.
IGN asked him what his Joker would think of Superman, to which he replied, who? That would probably be his answer. Super who? Superboy? He sounds cute. Tights? A cape? He says Superman seems like a lot of fun, though, for the Joker.
He really would. He would call Superman adorable. That's one of the words he would use, I think.
Yeah. He said the Joker Superman would be interesting to see on screen because Superman's so stoic and morally centered. I think that the Joker would really enjoy that. Superman is just the classic hero, and the Joker opposite any classic hero would be really interesting.
Yes, please. Give me now. Any of that. I want Joker versus the freaking Justice League, for God's sake. Like, and it's not even that I'm that in love with Jared Leto's Joker. It's just that I got to see just enough of him that it's an absolute freaking tease. Like, it's possible that if you showed me 5 more minutes of this guy, I'd think, you know what, it's too far. I don't like it. It's possible. I don't know. But for now, it's just enough that I want the other half of that sandwich, man.
Yeah. Ezra Miller is in the news, all over the place actually, but here he's discussing how Justice League cast deal with squad haters. He says, you needn't look any further than the Suicide Squad director and cast response to the negative reviews to feel how negative critiques motivate us. Ultimately, we can't base anything on the critical response. As artists, we aim to please absolutely everybody with our work, but we also know that we have to keep expressing ourselves as best as we can express ourselves. It's like that T.I. song, Motivation. He also says that his scene in Suicide Squad, he says, saying that Zack shot it would not be accurate. It was very much a collaborative effort that was supervised by DC.
So they just put everybody in the room and said, make this work. It's only about 10 seconds of footage. You can handle that, right?
I reckon.
And it's not a lot of footage, but how much fun was that?
It was awesome.
I loved it.
I want some more. Uh-huh. Suicide Squad, the soundtrack is at number 1.
Don't doubt it.
So there's that. It's on track to sell 170,000 albums in its debut week. It's number 1 position on the iTunes charts in 63 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all right.
There's more talk of a Harley Quinn movie. Jim Lee was talking to Vulture and said, I refer to Harley as the 4th pillar in our publishing line behind Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. She was apparently the most popular Halloween costume in the United States in 2015.
Don't doubt it.
Margot Robbie, as far as the movie goes, Margot Robbie says, I'm trying to make that happen. Not for anything specifically, but just something. There's so much more to do.
I mean, everyone had a great time with her. If they're going to throw money at anything, it may not be Suicide Squad 2, but I'll bet you get her first.
Mm-hmm. Now, Gal Gadot uploaded a video that was created by at @dwonder_love, and it's a video of her singing. It's a video of Gal Gadot singing. She's actually pretty damn good, honestly.
Nice. Nice. Didn't know about that.
Yeah, and there are pictures of she and the other Justice League members playing. They've apparently formed a little band behind the scenes.
Of course.
And she says maybe Pride of Gypsies, Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and Ray Sifyar should start working on an album. Any ideas for names? There were almost 1,000 comments just talking to her about her singing and suggesting names. Mm-hmm. I kind of glanced around and I saw 3 that made me laugh. Waiting for Martians. Dear Jean Letter.
Oh, good.
And All Along the Watchtower.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Anyway. Reportedly, The Flash is going to be filming in London early next year.
Okay.
So that's not surprising. Was it?
No.
Did you talk about this on the show, or was this just between me and you, where you were talking about how because of Brexit,
London.
I think it was on the show.
Yeah,
the euro
London
has gone down. So
yeah, London is cheaper than a sack of sweaty balls right now. You can get in and out of there for nothing. Like even tourism within like the surrounding area has gone up. Mm-hmm. Kind of hoping it helps them. I mean, come on, we all like the English.
Yeah. Now
hang in there, guys.
It is slated to be released March 16th, 2018. So I don't know. Let's get it going.
So
the Wrap is reporting.
Just have to stay alive a couple more years. Okay, cool.
All right. Guess I need to start eating broccoli again.
I know. Sacrifices.
Damn it.
Sacrifices.
The Wrap. The Wrap is reporting that Black Manta is going to be the big bad for the Aquaman film.
Mm-hmm. Makes a ton of sense. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So in the original story, in case you don't know, Black Manta was a kid from Baltimore. He got kidnapped and became a slave on a ship, and he was abused by his captors, And then he sees Aquaman in the distance one day, and he tries to flag him down, but Aquaman doesn't see him, and he swims away. So the boy grows and kills his captors and vows to seek vengeance on Aquaman for not saving his life.
For being a passerby dick.
Right. Now, the current version of Black Manta's story, which I'm assuming they're going to go with a little more, is that he's a ruthless treasure hunter who seeks out mystical relics from the sea, and at some point encounters Aquaman and his father while searching for a relic. They battle. Aquaman's father has a heart attack and dies. And then Aquaman seeks vengeance for his father's death. But in pursuing Black Manta, he ends up accidentally killing his father instead. And the death sets off this chain reaction that leads to a blood feud between the two characters.
Yeah, that sounds right. It seems like one of those stories, though, that could have been settled with a healthy talk and a couple beers.
Yeah. So Michael Jai White and Michael K. Williams from The Wire both want to play Black Manta.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. That's not an official anything. That's just two actors who want to do it.
A couple guys who want to play something.
I'm moving on.
Yep.
So we haven't heard a whole lot about this, but Danny Garcia, who's a producer on Shazam, is talking about what's going on with that movie.
It's finally time to breach that set of news, I guess.
He says Shazam is to live in the same world as the other films, but we have incredible autonomy over this brand and franchise. We are working with a different team, different producers, different directors. It's a different setup. We don't feel fettered by or constrained by the successes or failures and challenges of the other projects. That was a key component to our participation, that we be able to control the tone and the voice and do it the way we want to. We're getting script drafts in. It's important to make sure we get the tone right for Black Adam, which is Dwayne's part. We don't mind taking our time. We're being very careful with each act and scene to go back and layer in as much as possible.
Yeah, sounds right.
But their theatrical release is April 5th, 2019, and they don't have a finished script or a lead actor.
All right, they're not in too bad a shape yet. I mean, 2 years is where you start really panicking.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the fear sets in.
Yeah. So
that's how David Ayer ends up writing a script in 6 weeks.
So there's we talked about it earlier. That when I was talking about Charles Roven confirming all of that stuff, that was from an article, an interview that he was a part of, and he went on to talk about this with another producer. And I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. His name is Richard Suckle. Dick Suckle. Okay, I'm done.
I completely understand why you had to get that out of your system.
Mm-hmm.
Just completely. My absolute condolences and congratulations even that you made it through it without that much chuckling.
I didn't even chuckle.
But you did chuckle when you first read it, right?
I didn't, actually.
Oh.
I was just a bird dog. I just saw it and pointed at my screen for like 10 minutes. To no one in particular. Just... That's happening. That is happening. Oh my gosh.
That's real. That's part of real life. No one made this up. That's a real thing that happened in life to a person. Okay.
Yeah. So they didn't really have a whole lot to say, but they did stand up for Zack Snyder in Justice League.
Sorry, Richard.
Yeah. They acknowledged the positive, mostly positive fan reaction to Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Then they said it is important You do need to pay attention to criticism, but you also need to stay true to your vision. Zack Snyder is a great director. Let's see. Ooh. He's talked about the different tone in the Justice League trailer. Roven did. Mm-hmm. And started explaining why we saw a lot more humor in the sneak peek. He says, I think one of the things Zack really wanted to do, because everybody knows that Zack certainly has an ability to shoot action, was to just say, hey, I could do this too. It doesn't have to be all action. These characters are going to be different once they begin to interact with each other.
Yeah.
So hooray!
It's like you settle in for episode 2 and start really dealing with the character development.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pointing out something that we pointed out before. No one's ever said Zack Snyder couldn't shoot action. If anything, people sometimes say his action's too action-y.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, there's just so much, like, oh, it's just grotesque, and there's so much detail, and other people are going, yeah, and what? More?
I don't understand how that's even a complaint. Like, no, we prefer shaky
like the
cam.
honest trailer for Watchmen said, like, oh, and he managed to turn this into basically a Matrix film. And I thought, it's an okay line, but, come on, guys, weak. That action was phenomenal.
I would rather see Zack Snyder action. Look, man, I have a problem with his filters. I don't like how he tries to make everything look like a damn Instagram photo. I've said this
You are
millions of
well
times.
stated on the record on that one. Yeah.
However, got no problem with the man's action.
It looks great.
I would much rather see Zack Snyder action than,
J.J. Abrams?
what the Yeah, I was thinking of J.J. Abrams literally in Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness would stand by the sidelines during action scenes and just pound the shit out of the camera to make that shaky cam happen.
Not even a regular camera. The steady cam that they specifically get so that you can't shake it. He would sit there and bang it with his freaking fist.
I hate shaky cam with like every inch of me. And it was one of my big issues in Civil War. So, I don't know. I like. God,
well, you say big issues. We didn't really have. Again, I don't want to get painted as some DC guy. We didn't really have big issues with Civil War. We had like tiny issues, perfectly manageable issues.
That's why I say it's one of my big issues.
Oh, it's like, that's you mean as relative,
right?
Okay.
I was just like, I haven't gotten Parkinson's disease yet. I'm always worried about it. I always think I probably will. But I haven't gotten it yet, so please stop making me feel like that when I'm watching a movie.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
You
ever do that? You ever like look down and you're like your pinky or something is just like twitching like hell, and you're like, oh no.
No, there's a side effect of high blood pressure that's astigmatism, where you can't focus your eyes exactly right, which I have experienced on occasion. And yeah, that's what it feels like. Like you're looking at a sheet of paper, and it's like the sheet of paper is just juggling around you. You almost have to blur your eyes to read a paragraph.
Yeah, I do that sometimes.
That's what it reminded me of, personally.
Okay, so let's talk about this open letter that was to Warner Brothers from quote unquote Gracie Law. That's not her name or his name, whoever's name. They claim to be an ex Warner Brothers employee, and the open letter is to CEO Kevin Sugihara. So the person who wrote it was very disappointed with Suicide Squad. No holds barred. Just came at Sugihara, talking about how the way he handled some layoffs back in 2014 and how he's running the show. They said in one segment, you just don't get it. It's not just DC movies. It's your whole slate. Jupiter Ascending, Get Hard, Hot Pursuit. By the way, I liked Get Hard. Hot Pursuit, Max, Vacation, Pan, Point Break, fucking Pan, you jerk. People lost their jobs and you decided Pan was a good idea. You think another Jungle Book is a good idea.
Oh,
I gotta agree on some of that.
She's not wrong on a few of those.
But they also said,
I don't think anyone was looking around going, you know what the world needs now? Another Pan and Jungle Book reboot. But let's go dark.
She said, what are you even doing? I wish to God you were forced to live out of a car until you made a #1 movie of the year. Maybe Wonder Woman wouldn't be such a mess. Don't try to hide behind the great trailer. People inside are already confirming it's another mess. It is almost impressive how you keep rewarding the same producers and executives for making the same mistakes over and over. So this has gotten a lot of traction.
Yeah,
and
I've seen it around. So she's not a fan of Roven and Snyder and Co. either, I assume?
Oh, I would assume not.
Because those are the two most associatable names out of the clan she just described.
Well, you know, we're 3 movies in, and a movie ago we would have had Goyer thrown into that mix as well.
I abandoned Goyer a long time ago, honestly.
So yeah, it looks like Warner Brothers did too.
I mean, as of Man of Steel, even I was thinking, you know what, this is Snyder's problem now. I'm not blaming Goyer for anything. I firmly believed that he had been taken off the roster after Dark Knight Rises. That he was still associated and named by a couple things, but I didn't really think he had much effect on it.
No, he has story credit on Batman v Superman.
Yeah, I know, but I just never believed it. I know I'm...
Oh, it's true.
I just never quite believed it. I'm happy to be wrong, like so many things, but I've always thought that he was just a name that was on there because he helped crack a few stories early on, so they had to give him story by credit. And
maybe.
Really, honest to God,
I'm sure it was rewritten.
You can get story by credit by like turning a cocktail napkin around with a few jotted down ideas. Story by is not that hard to come by.
Be.
You can literally sit around with a few drinks and crack a story with somebody, and if the other person remembers it the next day, you might be eligible for story by.
Right, which is why I
mean, his contribution to BVS might have been, I think you should have Batman and Superman fight, and that's how you introduce Batman. That could be it.
I just hang out at bars writing on napkins hoping the person across from me is a movie producer.
Right. Instead, you just keep getting arrested for littering.
Well, you know, David Goyer came out and said, way before the movie, he said, Batman versus Superman is where you go when you admit to yourself that you have no more story ideas. So,
which is just, that is an intellectually vapid comment.
That makes perfect sense for David Goyer to say, doesn't it? Intellectually vapid?
We have a history of not being incredibly impressed by David Goyer. But
yeah,
seriously,
sorry guys.
Don't tell me that Batman vs Superman facing off is where you go when you have no other story. Like, that's what started all this shit. Dark Knight Returns is that not one of the major linchpin turning points, freaking high water marks of anything that has to do with comics? Would you describe it as back against a wall at any capacity?
I don't know. It depends. It depends. Like, Dark Knight Returns revitalized Batman. So maybe. I think you just made his point for him.
Not in the same manner, though. Like, it's where you go if you're scrambling, but not like somebody. Frank Miller went there proactively. He chased that thing down in the desert and said, "I'm going to get you." He's describing it as though it's like your last will and testament, and it happened to get you out of the electric chair.
Yeah, and to be fair to DC Comics, Denny O'Neil had done a great amount of work in turning that character back around from the campy bullshit of the 60s.
Yeah, no, he went back to the
I don't know.
The world's greatest detective angle. This guy actually works at night. Hey, what if we don't have him smile as much?
But I've read a bunch of that, and he still calls Robin Chum.
I know. And it's still kind of cute.
Just saying, guys. Anyway.
Gray and blue.
So, Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, responded in tweets.
Because that's how adults communicate now.
Yeah, I wish they just would. God, please respond like in a blog or something. But whatever.
I don't know. I like paragraphs personally, but okay.
Yeah, me too. She wrote, "Whoa! Just saw this press about Wonder Woman having problems. Are they serious? This is some made up BS right here. Made up. Produce a source, anyone. You can't because it's entirely false. Don't believe the hype, people. Someone's trying to spread some serious misinfo. Isn't until you are intimately involved in these things that you realize how totally false these rumors can. Let me reassure you. Zero about the movie we are making has been called a mess by anyone in the know. Fact. Real lasso of truth. Time will tell that letter to be false soon enough, but lame something so transparent in its agenda gets traction." Yes, but in an age when the 3 out of the 3 DCEU movies has been kind of largely shit on, especially the last 2 by critics.
Yeah. You never thought you'd be looking back at the Man of Steel reviews thinking,
right,
I miss those days.
Right. So, when you look at that and okay, well, it's not that far-fetched to think that Wonder Woman might be a mess. We love the Suicide Squad trailers. I enjoyed the movie, but those trailers promised me something different. They did. So to think about the Wonder Woman trailer, it could be a mess. Who knows? Who the hell knows? No one knows, except for the people doing it, and they'll never admit it. And, I think it's funny. Absolutely not one person has come at me about my statement saying that everyone was a liar. All these producers and directors and shit were liars. Not one person was like, "You negative piece of shit." Nobody said that. Everyone was like, "Well, yeah, they're under contract."
Right.
Like,
we all know the score here, right?
yeah, their career's over if they come out before this thing is out and bashed, or even after. While it's in the theater, they can't say anything. They're just like, "Well, I'm proud of the movie." The real story will come in like 2 years when, you know, we've forgotten about it, and then it'll be like, by the way, David Ayer sat down to talk about how much he was pissed off about Suicide Squad being a piece of shit.
Right. Sat down to talk about how
like
Roven held him against a wall one day and told him he should do his movie differently. Oh, yeah, there was a knife involved.
And it was in Jared Leto's hand.
Right.
And for some reason, he was sharpening it on his penis. And we were like, what is happening?
And then somehow Roven still turned on him and took all his scenes. Because so, that's how he rolls.
Anyway.
No.
I don't want to think these cats are liars. I don't know if Patty Jenkins is lying. Of course she's got to stand up for Wonder Woman. And I want Wonder Woman to be good. I want all this to be good. I'm just saying it might not be.
I just cannot find it in my heart to blame her either way. Dude, she's working on it right now. No. I want her to be optimistic about this film. I want her to go into work every day thinking this is going to be good, this is going to be good, this is going to be good.
Yeah, and, you know...
The alternative is we get a shitty movie that she knew was going to be a shitty movie.
Like, the claims by this so-called ex-Warner Brothers employee are completely unsubstantiated. I cannot... Like, I've heard people say, like, oh, this is bullshit. They outed this person as being a... This report was taken from a Reddit post a few months ago. Mm-hmm. I can't find that that's true.
It's just out of absolutely nowhere.
So I'm reporting on it because it's been every damn where, and we would be negligent not to say something about it.
It is rough when you can't even find something in a Reddit post.
Yeah, well, who wants to try to track down something in a Reddit post anyway?
I admit as much.
It's like trying to find substance in a haystack.
Yeah. Now, like you've dropped something important into a trash can that you know you just put some really bad things into. And there's no amount of like tripling up 3 latex gloves that can make this better. You're gonna have to close your eyes and reach in there and feel all of the trash.
Like, man, I just dropped a golden earring into a whole barrel full of sexism and fart jokes.
Yeah, or just generally anyone who's ever had to fish their phone out of a toilet at a dive bar.
Oh, shut up.
And you have to do it quickly. There's no time to think about it. You have to go in there. Because every quarter of a second you waste, your phone might be irretrievably done.
Yeah.
And no, you didn't get to flush before you actually dropped it. Of course you didn't.
Oh, okay, man. Okay. We're done here. No more, please. Ezra Miller. This is not the first time Ezra Miller has said something like this, but it's still amazing, and I hope he's actually hinting at something he's heard about. But Ezra Miller is talking about Grant Gustin, who plays the TV Flash. And Ezra Miller says, he's a boss. I can't wait to see him, eye to eye, adrift in the Speed Force. Our eyes will lock, and in that moment, we will both know the truth. What truth? I dare not say.
I'm kind of growing to love Ezra Miller during the process of these movies. I was very much, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what Ezra Miller reminds me of?
He's so excited, though. He's a puppy dog.
I hear Ezra Miller says shit like this, and I'm like, I suspect that I hope that he has, but I suspect no one has told him anything about anything. Like, they haven't told him that he's going to meet Grant Gustin at some point, but he's mentioned, like, doing, like, a multiverse thing with Grant Gustin somewhere along the line before. Yeah. And when he talks about it, he reminds me of this cat I used to hang out with in college who smoked a ton of weed.
You know that guy.
I'm not saying Ezra Miller smokes a ton of weed. I'm just saying he sounds like a cat I used to know who did.
Right.
So they've made a new Justice League logo, and it's the same logo, but they kind of covered it in chrome, like this, like, metallic look to it. It's got, like, a metallic texture to it with, like, dents and whatnot in it. And while I don't necessarily agree with the sentiments of this, Chris Wisdom, who's in the Giants Us Team Up Network with us.
What up, Chris?
Commented Hi, Chris. Commented on our Facebook page on this article and said, yes, of course. When you're trying to fix the damage that has been done to your young cinematic universe, the single best way is to go with chromium variants, because it worked out so well for the comic book market in the 90s.
True that. And you saw the stuff about the costume?
The Henry Cavill picture of the black design.
It seems incredibly relatable to me.
Yes. Yes. Which a bunch of outlets are trying to say, like, oh no, Superman's costume is going to be black now because Zack Snyder can't help himself but make him so gloomy. And I'm like, no, this is canon, bitch.
That's the low-hanging fruit for the news news cycle. I get it. But I would maybe submit that this isn't necessarily disappointing, the new Chrome logo, as we're going to hang out tight with the book. Mm-hmm. He's going to come back. Hopefully won't have a mullet. I agree with everyone who so far has gone, oh, please stop short of the mullet. I stand behind you.
Okay. I don't know about the mullet, but
it's kind of a mullet.
Zack Snyder did say, well, it depends on who drew him. Some people drew him with a mullet. Yeah, sure. Some people, he actually just had like a mane.
Yeah, when you have like a mane, that's one thing. Like Chris Hemsworth Thor is different, but like, it depends on how you draw the front of the head, really, and whether you've like bothered drawing in a couple of lines that say this dude has long hair in the front too. Not business in the front. Not business in the front. Party all around.
Now, look, I'll say this though. I have Superman mullet action figures. I have long mane action figures. I have electric blue and red Superman figures. So
it's all true.
I'm kind of down either way. Whatever.
I'm just hoping they pull. I want them to just pull a knot out of it. Just we're gonna go with the black costume, and I'd even be okay with it being a little bit of the costume helping him heal. Mm-hmm. Where like during the process of him regenerating himself, he's a little weak. Mm-hmm. And the costume is the only thing keeping him alive, and like that's why the costume's kind of decolored. Is it's like literally his armor is weak. It's having to like feed him energy to keep him going. And then as you go through the film, he starts coloring himself. Like he gets stronger, and he comes back to the old red and blue, something like that. I don't want him to stay black the entire film. I'd like to see red and blue by the end of Justice League 1, if at all possible. For God's sake, by the end of Justice League 2. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, we all want happy, smiley, hopeful. Dude, I crave it.
You crave it?
I crave it.
Now, I do remember a long time ago, a few months ago, shortly after BVS came out, Zack Snyder said, I don't know. I seem to remember something in the myth about Superman coming back with longer hair. So I think we're going to get long hair. I doubt it'll be mullet, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get longer hair.
Long hair's fine, though. And we're going to get word on that before. Like, there's no way no one in London notices Henry Cavill having a wig on or having grown his hair long.
You say that, but people in Times Square didn't notice Henry Cavill looking like Superman in front of billboards of Superman.
I know. That was pretty good evidence that the Clark Kent method might actually work.
Yeah. Now,
also, New Yorkers don't notice shit when they're walking on the street. They really don't. They really freaking don't.
It's a survival mechanism.
It really is. I have seen footage of women walking down the street with literally no pants on. Not one person glanced back. Not one fuck.
Well, the streets of New York are like Walmart for us.
Keep your head down. Do what you do. Keep your head down. Do what you do.
Don't notice the guy with only one leg peeing on the bin.
Right. Of course, that guy, that 14-year-old just stole an entire box of oh, wait, he's going back for a second box of condoms. All right, I don't notice that. I don't even know about that. I need dog food. I need dog food right now.
Yeah.
I don't care about
that. I just want potato chips. I do not see the 500-pound woman breastfeeding a chihuahua. Mm-hmm. That is not happening.
That's not happening. Not a concern of mine. Or the guy who just drank out of 3 different cartons of milk, I suppose, trying to figure out if he could tell the difference between whole skim and 2%.
Nope. They were all goat.
Not my problem.
Anyway.
Not my problem at all. What I need is the other milk over here that I'm pretty sure he hadn't touched.
Right. So, did you see the thing where Will Arnett said that his Lego Batman could take down Jared Leto in a fight?
I mean, the actual Lego? Because he's like an inch and a half tall.
Yeah. He says Lego Batman could beat Jared Leto.
I mean, and Jared Leto or Jared Leto Joker?
He said Jared Leto's Joker.
Jared Leto's Joker? Okay. All right. I would love to see that fight.
I would too. He said he just seems kind of scrawny, kind of thin. And
what is
they asked Jared Leto.
What is
they
the
asked Jared
YouTube
Leto,
series that does those fights?
Oh,
They've done like Deadpool v Batman and
yes, like I think it's the Bat in the Sun Productions. I can't remember what they Superhero Showdown.
There you go. I remember Bat in the Sun. I would love for those guys to take Will Arnett up on this, and theoretically.
Mm-hmm. Now they did ask. DC All Access was the one who had that interview with Will Arnett, and they asked Jared Leto. They said, "Hey, Will Arnett says that his Lego Batman could beat Joker, your Joker. What do you say to that?" And Jared Leto's response was, "Anytime you want to meet the Joker in a dark alley, bring your Legos."
I don't actually own any Legos, but I would not subject him to it.
I do have a Lego somewhere, a Batman Lego. All right, moving on. So Kevin Conroy didn't really like Batman v Superman as far as Batman killing. He says he thought Ben Affleck did a great job, but he said, personally, I love the fact that Batman and the stories I've done and the way he's been rendered by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the people I've worked with most closely, he never kills anybody. He doesn't cross that line. Batman is not a killer. He puts them into Arkham Asylum, which is what is so brilliant about the Arkham games. Someone realized, my God, all these incredible villains are in the same institution. Let's get a video game in there. It's a brilliant idea, but the fact that Batman never kills anyone, I love that fact. In the most recent live-action movie, that seems to have been a line that was crossed, and it's not one I'm particularly comfortable with.
I got 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
One, I admit completely that it's almost an aesthetic choice, a level of comfort, but in defense of the movie's kill count, he didn't kill anyone who didn't shoot at him first. And I mean intent to kill, shoot at him first.
Uh-huh.
Also, Kevin Conroy references the games where we have gone, we have joked many times about the fact that in those games he clearly kills people.
Yeah, he negligently kills people.
Like he just leaves people in a puddle of water unconscious, and, nature's going to take its course, dude.
Yeah, and, you throw a razor-sharp batarang at a dude's head.
It doesn't bounce
guy
off.
Might fall down.
Doesn't bounce off.
The guy falls down. Maybe you're too far away to see that close.
Yeah.
But I think he fell down because he stopped breathing.
Right.
Did you ever see it was one of those Pete Holmes bits, Patton Oswalt as the Penguin?
Yeah. No, where he gets him in the neck?
Well, Batman just like, I don't kill. And he just like lobs a batarang into like the middle of a dude's head. The dude dies.
I thought it was the neck for some reason. But yeah, he's like, no, he's just sleeping.
He did get somebody in the neck, yeah.
He's
like,
just taking a sleep.
Little guys all tuckered out.
Right. I mean,
but yeah,
and technically the Batvision isn't, I guess, lying because it says unconscious, but come on, they're more than unconscious.
Yeah, I mean,
and to be fair, the Batvision says deceased on several occasions when he wanders upon a corpse. So no argument there either.
Right. I love that Batman doesn't kill most of the time in the comics. Most of the time. I understand people don't like the, well, he used to kill in the comics argument, and people don't like, but look, if we are to believe what the writers, director, producers of BVS say, he's probably not going to do that again, because he was going through a dark time, and this was sort of a redemption thing for Batman.
I think in the Ultimate Cut, it's described as a whole new kind of mean.
Yeah. There's a new kind of mean in him.
Yeah.
But
he's angry and he's hunting. Is that the line?
Yeah, yeah. But I love that people are just ignoring every single Batman movie that came before and pointing to this one as like, oh no, he kills. Well, no shit. Just because he killed 40 people instead of 20 people doesn't mean that he didn't kill before. Even the Adam West Batman kicked a dude after he already saw that hitting these people made them dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
And that they weren't coming back. He just I'll just try one more just to make sure. Boing.
Look, antimatter dispersion kills are not real kills. Apparently.
Yeah. So.
No, you can look up a kill count for anything on these, and there's a wonderful set of YouTube videos that'll do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But
by Mr. Sunday Movies, is that it?
I think that one's it. Yeah.
So.
But the homicidal negligent kill count is that's probably redundant somehow. But anyway, it's noticeable, remarkable, even in a couple of these.
Mm-hmm.
And hell, I swear, during the course of like the Nolan films, there are moments where you almost think that Batman caused as much damage as Superman did in Metropolis.
Mm-hmm. If you pay attention.
That one rooftop tumbler chase was just, oh man, millions of dollars. Millions of dollars.
Yep. So anyway, we are moving on to television now.
Back to my safety box.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but
it's the
is
place
the television
where things
your
make
safety
sense.
box?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the place where every now and then they show me the Flash and all is well.
David Mazouz, the young Bruce Wayne on Gotham, wants Superboy to be on Gotham. He says, I think it'd be really cool to have a young Clark Kent on the show. I can't disagree, David.
Nope. Can't at all.
Then he says to have a 15-year-old Clark Kent. I know in Batman v Superman they played it like Metropolis and Gotham are twin cities, so it wouldn't be that hard to take a boat ride over for Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And then IGN asks or says, "Well,
I mean, he does have the geography wrong. Like he's in Kansas
absolutely.
right now." But
absolutely, I was gonna say something too. I was like, "Yeah, that would be really cool."
Taking a boat from Kansas. Sorry,
You've been writing to someone else, David.
Sorry, David. I agree with you in sentiment. You were just excited.
Yeah. And then IGN said Tyler Hoechlin just started playing Superman on Supergirl. Obviously, that's on the CW, a separate universe. But is there any sort of crossover you'd love to do? Look, they have Legends of Tomorrow, which is a time-jumping show. Maybe they find young Batman at some point. David says that would be amazing. I mean, it might be difficult to work out with the producers and all. But I would love it. Like I said, as a Batman fan, that would be awesome. Going back to the Superman, Clark Kent as a teenager saves a busload of kids from drowning, right? It would just be really cool to start a scene in the GCPD and just pan, like start on a newspaper that says 15-year-old boy in Metropolis, saves busload of kids from drowning, and then just pan up and have a regular scene that has nothing to do with it. Yeah, dude, Smallville.
In spirit, I completely agree with him. He just wants to get the kids together. That sounds fantastic.
I understand. No, what you do,
and
you do that.
You know what's crazy?
Epic.
I don't even care. Like, he can do that. He can just do the
right.
If he wants to, he can have him come out of Metropolis. I don't care. It's Gotham. It's an Elseworld anyway.
Yeah, it's Gotham.
Poison Ivy aged like 30 years this year.
Not 30 years, but yeah. What they should do is just have an episode where Alfred and Bruce get lost out in Kansas.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Just like that epic short story where Bruce and, I think, what was it called? When Clark met Bruce?
Yeah.
Yeah, just do that. Have them hanging out.
Yeah. Just a quick scene where like he meets some kid that's kind of clearly got simpler ideas of right and wrong in his head. Mm-hmm. And they agree on like some of the basics. Like a quick little philosophy conversation. We're not talking, don't go into it too deep because it'll get weird. Like these are 13, 14-year-old boys having a philosophical conversation. That's going to get boring at some point. But to me. Just a quick back and forth to describe the fact that like things are a little weird, but there's a black and white and they both like it. And then like Bruce like takes a liking to the kid and like wants to shake his hand finally. And may I ask your name? In his kind of regalish imperial kind of manner. My name's Clark. Mm-hmm. And like, something that simple would just be huge. The problem is it'd be like I would spend the rest of my time watching Gotham waiting for that kid to come back.
Right.
He'd be another Jerome. Like, when is Jerome getting back?
I would love to see a Bruce meets Clark episode, but that's it. Like, I don't want him to like wind up going off to like, his senior year in high school or whatever, and he gets in there and like his classmates are a young Hal Jordan and the foreign exchange student who no one can pin down named Diana.
Yeah, right.
And Clark like, oh look, Clark's here. And
no, you don't want to do Gotham High or anything, but
yeah, I don't want to do Justice Babies.
Justice League High. I think that's actually what you were writing accidentally right then.
All right. So anyway, apparently Alfred is going to get a love interest in this season of Gotham.
I know you're rooting for Leslie.
It's not going to be Leslie. The EPs are saying Alfred finds love. He has a 16-year-old boy who, as these things happen, naturally kind of grows away from him. And suddenly someone enters his life who is connected. By the way, the first part of that paragraph kind of freaked me out a little bit, frightened me. I'm glad I kept reading.
It could be phrased differently.
Alfred finds love. He is a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah. That could have been phrased differently.
Suddenly someone enters his life who is connected to another character, and Alfred is left with the idea of the possibility of another life there, and it gives us a great storyline. Stevens also said that Leslie Tompkins is going to get a new love interest, which we already knew. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say who, but he teases them as a scion of a particular Gotham crime family. So I'm, probably Mario Falcone.
Probably, yeah. I mean, he's heading this way anyway, right? So
yeah. So, also, John Stevens said, it is 100% our intention to bring Jerome back.
That's still hedging, you asshole.
What?
That I read that line and thought, that's still hedging. That's still hedging.
He says, we're going to be playing it again this year, and basically extending the idea of the cult of Jerome. We're building the architecture for him to come back.
Yeah. Building the architecture for, and 100% our intent are not the same as we're going to see Jerome this year.
Yeah. He says you'll have these underground movements that have started to talk about Jerome and what he represented and how he's going to come back, like in the days of John the Baptist, setting the stage that if there is a season 4, hopefully we'll bring that back in a much bigger way, and you'll see these different versions of the Joker myth.
I mean, I like that part, but they're right in the middle of the Indian Hill stuff right now. So, or like the repercussions from it. And am I remembering this wrong, by the way? Didn't we see Jerome's body, clearly see Jerome's body floating in a vat?
Yeah, we did.
So it's kind of left unclear. Maybe he got out of there before this whole thing happened. Maybe he didn't. I mean, he didn't go through and talk about, Strange didn't go around and discuss everyone that he was a room guy. We didn't get a laundry list or anything. Mm-hmm. So he might have made it out, might have not. Mad Hatter apparently did.
Right.
Even then, everyone gets out with this news story, and I wanted to think that Jerome would get out with this. With either, I thought it would be fun if they did one of two things: one, feed him his own story about the maniacs and everything, or two, try to reprogram completely, and Jerome's the Joker-esque personality is the part that takes over anyway, and just rejects it entirely. No. I remember who I was, and all of this is a joke.
So yeah, I would be down with that.
Either one of those I was happy with, but I don't know. As long as we're going to get back to him at some point, that's at least something, because that guy was phenomenal. Just crushingly good.
He was pretty good most of the time, yeah. So, the Television Critics Association. John Stevens producers, John Stevens and Ken Woodruff.
Yeah.
We're talking about Poison Ivy. The idea of Poison Ivy came along because one of the escapees from Indian Hill has the power. When he touches you, he takes away years of your life. He ages you immediately. So he touches Ivy early on, but he didn't hold on to her for very long. So she does a little bit of aging. So for us, we really wanted to play with the idea of transformation. Version 1 of the character, version 2. And so much of Ivy, of the canon, that we wanted to play, we had to make her a little older. I don't think we'll see any superpower stuff. I think that would be way further down the line, especially since this is an origin story show. This is from Maggie Jiha, who's taking over in the role. So I think it's going to be more about discovering how other people perceive her and what that means. A lot of people are focused on her sexuality. I think Ivy, in my opinion, doesn't really feel sexual about anybody. I think if she notices this person is attracted to me, finds me appealing in a sexual way, I'm going to use that to my benefit. It's more of a manipulative thing than anything.
Yeah. That's going to be weird, though, for me.
Which is how Paul Dini has always described it, really.
Well, sure. She's always been a little distant, to put it mildly. And, right. Frankly, one of her most interesting relationships was with Harley. Mm-hmm. But doesn't it sound like they're going to take, this 15-year-old girl and give her a 30-year-old hot body, and, it's going to be, big, but get kind of weird because it's Gotham and they're going to make it all sexualized? I
don't know, man. I hope not. But yes, it does.
I hope not. But the fear is there.
The fear is strong. So they released a picture, a first look at Benedict Samuel as the Mad Hatter. Did you see this thing?
Yeah, I kind of liked him.
You did?
Yeah.
I did not.
Kind of did.
He had the top hat,
it fit Gotham's aesthetic. I don't know how else to describe that. It looked like it was Gotham's version of Mad Hatter.
You know, he looked like to me, he said he had the top hat, the overcoat, the fob watch. He looked like Dave Grohl on Doctor Who. That's what it looked like to me.
Oh, that's not bad. Or Slash on Laundry Day. I think I've just probably ruined that character for you.
Oh, man.
God help you if there's a scene with Mad Hatter where it rains, you're going to be thinking, the November rain.
So Gotham.
Every time he goes for his sister, sweet Charlie,
so Ken Woodruff, executive producer of Gotham, says we may have already seen Harley as a person that you thought you had met and known for a long time. So we always reserve the right to sort of do that as well. Gee, I wonder who they could be talking about.
Who could that possibly be? Maybe the person they try to misdirect with last season? I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? If they're going to do that with it, I won't care until it's Leslie.
Yeah.
Give me a Leslie that dyes her hair blonde and goes all Harley. Let's do that. I'd like to give Miranda Bachran a try at that role.
These producers on Gotham will not rest until I believe they're all a bunch of serrated dicks.
Take that one to the bank. Yeah.
So, Michael Imperiolo?
I thought it was Imperioli. I don't know.
Is it Imperioli?
That's how I remember it from
Imperioli?
Back in the day.
Oh, I see. I have a typo here. It is Imperioli. Yeah, from The Sopranos is going to be joining Lucifer in the role of Uriel, who's another angel, the middle brother between Lucifer and Amenadiel.
I'm just happy to see the cat.
Huh?
I'm just happy to see the guy. Because
sure.
The Sopranos ended poorly, in my opinion. But if you just stopped after his episode, it ended well. Like, he's out a couple episodes before, you don't see him anymore after, it's like 3 episodes were left, I think, when he does his curtain call. And I'm not even apologizing for ruining Sopranos if you haven't seen it. I'm trying to ruin it. Please don't do that. Please don't make that journey. The ending is not worth it. It will scar you for life. But yeah, his ending, pretty great. Guy was a great actor, actually, the whole time. I enjoyed the hell out of him.
So yeah, it looks like he will have some resentment towards Lucifer and Amenadiel, but he's got to pop in since their mom is going to be there.
Of course.
That's interesting.
The 3 amigos of Angel Wings? What?
Oh, I had some more Lucifer news somewhere. And now I'm not finding it. But anyway, it's not that deep.
No. No one was drooling waiting for the next piece of Lucifer news.
Right.
We'll find that later.
So on to Supergirl. Kevin Smith says Andrew Kreisberg told me that the name of the episode I'm directing is Supergirl Lives.
Isn't that nice?
I'm gonna cry talking about this. The name of the script I wrote back in '96 was called Superman Lives. So that's nice.
It is. It is a nice touch.
Also, I don't know that we've said it on the show, but Kevin Smith is directing an episode of Supergirl.
Yeah, that one kind of slipped by. If we haven't said it, it wasn't on my radar.
Yeah, there was so much news this week that I just every news piece I was looking at, I was like, didn't we talk about this last week? And I looked back at our listing of news and I went, nope, okay.
Right.
The TCAs, the Television Critics Association, happened, and yeah, there was a whole thing. There was so much news, so that's kind of what we're getting to here. Jenna Dewan, they asked if she was back, TV line, and Andrew Kreisberg says nothing is definitive, but we love Jenna, and Lucy is obviously alive in our universe. I'm good with her not being a Lucy Lane, though, around. I kind of didn't need her character too much. Or like her character that much most of the time.
I had no real problems with her, but if we're talking about funding here, she could be seen as superfluous.
Yeah, and I felt like part of that problem was they just kind of set her up to fail. She was a save the cat through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Where it was we knew
we knew so much about her when she stepped in.
It was just look, here's a hurdle for Kara to get over in her quest to be with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Here's some backstory for Jimmy that we won't need afterward.
They tried to scramble at the very end and make her important, and I just didn't care.
Well, they gave her the role over there, and I thought she did fine with the role over there. Nothing against her. It's just they didn't have a lot of room for her, really. Her character didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah. So Kreisberg is talking about their Superman, Supergirl Superman. He says, our Superman definitely fits within the world we've created. With any of these characters, there's an amalgamation of cherry picking that best fits from different eras, then throwing it into our own feelings. We've borrowed bits of everything. There's a little bit of Christopher Reeve in there. There's a little bit of the animated series. There's a moment that's very George Reeves. There's a little Super Friends, and there's even a little Lois and Clark. This is a Superman that's been doing it for 12 years. Generally speaking, it's always been the early, whether it's Chris Reeve starting out, it's always been this sort of birth of Superman and how he's just finding his way. But this is a guy who's been a reporter for 12 years. He's been a Superman for 12 years, so he really knows what he's doing. That presents an interesting challenge for Kara, who feels like she's still trying to figure things out. One of the things she learns, as do many of us, is that the people who are seemingly making it look easy are having just a harder time as everyone else. They just learn to fake it a little bit better.
Okay. I actually dig that.
Now, yeah.
Also, like all the things they just named, they're going to go, they really are. They're going for a very lighthearted take, which is a headline I've seen over and over again this week.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, not that this is a surprise, but I've seen a couple of articles, and I posted one of them, bringing up the Legion flight ring being a Supergirl. Yeah, we saw that last season. Mm-hmm. It has been confirmed that that Mon-El is going to be the person in the Kryptonian pod. That was a cat from the Legions, the Legionnaires.
Yeah.
So, and I'd forgotten about this, or else I would have mentioned it earlier. But I was doing a little reading there, and totally they're saying Maggie Sawyer is part of the Science Police. The Science Police are from the Legion comics. The Science Police are from the 31st century. So what the hell?
They're just gonna dig into those references, and we're just gonna have to see what gets sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to dig into, and I'm not getting any younger. Sorry. That neuron was particularly dusty. So it looks like there's going to be a big musical crossover between Supergirl and the Flash. And
you know what annoyed me when I saw that, though?
What?
Like, I didn't make a bet with anyone in particular. I just considered it an honor-bound dollar bet that I lost to the universe. But I want 50 cents of that dollar back. Because I swear there would be a Supergirl like singing scene somewhere in Supergirl Season 1. Because how could they possibly resist the urge to get her to sing? Beautiful voice.
Well, you specifically said that they would she would come to some sort of...
I said karaoke scene.
Yeah, you said there was going to be a karaoke scene where she would I don't know, come to know herself better or some bullshit.
I thought it'd be like a coming out party.
I was certain.
A little bit. And
I was certain, too.
You suggested that it would be 1,000 miles, and I thought, okay, that would definitely do it. And I was wrong. They didn't do the Supergirl or the Kara. It'd be a Kara scene. Singing at the karaoke thing and really coming out of her shell a little bit, which I thought was just
yeah.
But
I figured it would be like the whole thing: Wynn, Kara, and James. Like James a little reluctantly.
At least a bonding experience or something.
Yeah.
No, and none of that happened. But the fact that they doubled down and they're going to have her and Gustin and apparently whoever the hell else is involved in this 2-part crossover.
Yeah.
I at least want my 50 cents back from the universe.
All right. So Greg Berlanti said there will be a musical crossover. There will be a paired episode between Supergirl and Flash during the back half of the year. Some of you know my personal love of musicals. Well, I do now.
Yeah. And
actors who have been in them. We have a number of actors who could sing across all the shows, and they will be making very exciting appearances during the back half of the year. He says the musical will be mostly non-original songs, and he is taking requests via his Twitter account.
Oh.
Apparently, Victor Garber has already started pitching.
I'll bet. I've only seen him sing one time, and it was in Eli Stone when I wandered in while someone was watching the episode, but he did a fine job.
Berlanti apparently said that of all the time-traveling shows on right now, this is the only one where Garber will be singing Edelweiss to a bunch of Nazis.
That's the spirit.
Now this isn't confirmed by any measure, but apparently, the writers' room on The Flash is obsessed with Buffy. That's not a rumor. That part's true. They've actually said that there's not an episode that comes up where they don't reference something on Buffy, and how they're trying. Maybe that's the problem with Arrow. They don't have Buffy fans on the staff.
No, that's like we already foreshadowed that we might be talking about this, I suppose. But since it's come up, Buffy's a well-structured show. All right, season 1's not really structured at all. It's Monster of the Week, yeah. But once you get into it, it's a very well-structured show. Like it seemed like Whedon almost figured out the formula pretty early on and then perfected it by the end of it.
I mean,
there's a lot to take inspiration from. Yeah, so few people can do an episode that will rip your guts out, followed immediately by an episode that's hilarious, and fewer people can do both of those in the same episode in the same 10-minute span.
Absolutely, 10 minutes. That's way too much time.
2 minutes. You're right. You know, I've seen it done in 1 minute with that motherfucker.
Yeah, I've laughed my ass off. Something awful happens. I've got tears from no.
Yeah,
and then
actual shock.
2 seconds later, I'm laughing again because someone else said something awesome.
Yeah,
and I was just like, well, a roller coaster of emotion.
I need a lukewarm shower.
So apparently they're big fans over there. And Joss Whedon a few weeks ago was talking to Grant Gustin, said he was a huge fan of The Flash. So all of this has come to big rumors that, Joss Whedon, they might be trying to get Joss Whedon to direct those episodes. And of course the idea of Music Meister has already appeared. I thought of it as soon as they said Joss Whedon. I was like,
they didn't even say Joss Whedon. They said musical episode in Flareverse. And I went, okay, so Music Meister is going to show up.
But with Joss Whedon, you're like, okay.
So we're getting NPH.
Who played the music? Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris sang on Dr. Horrible with that Joss Whedon did,
which is just
NPH
phenomenal.
NPH was the voice of Music Meister on Batman: The Brave and the Bold. Oh, please!
All the pieces are there. Like the rumor became Joss Whedon might direct the episode of this, and in a loud voice, exactly 0 people cried out no. Right.
Actually, if you go to our Facebook page. There's one guy on our Facebook page who's like,
there's one.
If they do a musical episode, they're gonna look like pussies compared to Marvel.
Well, that's a different point entirely.
No one know what to say.
No one said Whedon shouldn't do it.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And like, if anything, it sells the point. 'Cause, like, I read that and thought, I guess if you're going to do it, Supergirl and Flash, and then like a couple hours later, I was scrolling around again and it said Whedon might blah blah. Oh yeah, now I want this episode. I want both of these episodes now. Sold me.
Yeah, that was one of those that I'm like, you're supposed to say something to every person who comments, and I'm like, I have nothing. I ain't got nothing. I don't know what to say about that.
I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk over here.
I heard musical episode, and without ever thinking of Joss Whedon, went yay. So.
All right.
So, by the way, I found that Lucifer news.
Oh, to the joy of the same exact sound of people objecting to Joss Whedon directing that episode.
Right. TV Line says that we will have hints of Maze's backstory in season 2 of Lucifer, but it's more about Maze going forward and having her figure out how to assimilate on Earth if she can. What we will dig into very much is her relationship with the Fella's mom, played by Tricia Helfer. Back when Mom was in hell and Maze was the chief enforcer. A lot of fun will be had with Mom being back on Earth and Maze maybe wanting to finish what she started.
Okay.
It actually was kind of fun news.
Actually, it sticks with everything we've said about her. Like, Maze is kind of great.
Yeah.
We're dubious about many of the other pieces of the show, but Maze is kind of great.
Yeah. Okay, back to Supergirl.
Of course.
Sharon Leal is going to play Miss Martian on Supergirl.
Oh yeah.
They're doing Miss Martian, man.
Thank God.
I love Sharon Leal. I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff. She's been in a bunch of stuff that other people have seen. But I remember her from Boston Public.
Huh.
Like, she was, recently Zuri Ellis on Grimm.
Oh,
she
Lord.
was Nicole Richter on The Good Wife. But I know her as Marilyn Suter on Boston Public, man. She was really good.
Okay.
Very good.
You know, I just realized why I remember Tricia Helfer's face. It's Burn Notice.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I know her from Battlestar.
I mean, her voice apparently I've run across a few times, like Green Lantern First Flight, Rick and Morty episode even.
Sorry.
Anyway.
There's several things I could tell you about Rick and Morty, and I'll just wait until after the show.
Okay.
So apparently Callista Flockhart's cat is pretty much gone. Like we said that she'll be there, she'll show up here and there, but yeah, it's a little more gone than we thought. He said Kreisberg said part of what's happening in the offices is addressing Kat's absence and who is stepping up to the plate to take her place. Callista is such a large presence of the show and such an important one. Taking her out and watching people try to fill her role is definitely part of the story. Supergirl.
Okay. Now, you know what's sad though? It's really going to be hard. I mean, because they go through a huge amount of effort in that first season to insist that Cat Grant cannot be replaced by anyone, at any time. So they kind of wrote themselves into a corner there, it seems like.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, they'll pull it off.
We'll see. I dig that dude. I dig Snapper Carr, man. I dig the dude that's playing him.
You dig away. I'll see if I follow you. He's still got to get over the Snapper Carr hump.
Well, I mean, what's his name? Ian Gomez, maybe? That dude was great on Felicity. He was easily the best part of that show.
I did not make it anywhere near that far in Felicity.
Anyway, I think he's from pretty much the first episode. He's like the bald dude who is her boss at the coffee shop.
No, okay. There's a chance I've seen him then, but it's long gone.
That's fair. So Kreisberg also said, in the premiere, a threat is going to arise that's going to require Supergirl and Superman to team up. Berlanti added, we had always hoped to end last year with him, but we wanted to have enough of a year to establish Supergirl as her own character. Yeah, so hooray. That makes sense.
Glad to have him, and I actually am glad they took the time to specifically establish her as a character. Without him.
Thank you.
That was the right
Over
call.
to the Flash. They do say that last season we saw Barry make the fateful decision to travel back in time to save his mother from the Reverse Flash. This is Kreisberg talking. When he did so, he created an alternate timeline where his mother's alive. That's from a story from the comic books called Flashpoint. The Flash picks up with Barry living in the new version of events and having to deal with both the benefits that's produced and also the costs. We knew that. This is our confirmation via Kreisberg. He says Flashberg will also affect the events in Arrow and in some capacity Legends of Tomorrow. Gray Damon has been cast as Mirror Master. This is a cat that was on Aquarius. I don't know his work. Apparently a lot of people are excited about it. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I didn't know him either. Blank slate.
Savitar is coming.
Just happy Mirror Master's there.
Yeah, dude looks the part. He looks like a Mirror Master. He does.
Yeah.
Savitar is coming. It looks like he's going to be the season 3 big bad speedster because they got to have a speedster, I guess, in every season.
Yeah.
But like in the comics, his real name was unknown. He was a pilot for a third world nation during the Cold War. He got his powers when his plane was struck by lightning. As it reached top speed, he became obsessed with speed. Called himself Savitar after the Hindu god of motion. Anyway, ended up taking on the Flash.
Of course.
I doubt they'll go into the Cold War shit.
Oh, what room do we have for that on the Flash?
Yeah, like Zoom, they changed Zoom almost completely.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Savitar's going to be like...
Line up, buddy. Prepare to have your backstory changed.
Right. It's just... What?
You're not too fast for an eraser, now are you?
Yeah. But his story, though, was pretty similar, apparently, to Zoom's. Like, he had, like, metahumans running around trying to kill Flash, one of whom was Lady Flash, so...
What up, Jesse?
It doesn't have to be Jesse. Jesse and Lady Flash are different.
Oh, I completely, yeah. But, just seems convenient.
Yeah, it does seem convenient. So apparently one of the characters on one of the DCTV shows will be exploring their sexuality, said Berlanti. He said it is a significant character. We're not trying to be coy about it. The only reason is that we really want the audience to enjoy the character developments and of that storyline. Whatever.
I'm kind of... I don't even know who to guess. I sat there and tried to ponder about it, but I don't even know who to guess.
I thought it could be Roy.
That seems like an obvious guess, though. But then I thought, it seems too obvious. I pedaled back from that. Like, Plus, they'd have to bring him in, and they'd be bringing him just for that, and it made him sound... The press on this makes it sound like it's going to be like someone that they're not just going to bring in to do that. It sounded like, no, this is somebody you've been hanging out with the whole time that didn't get like taken off for whole halves of the season.
It's gonna be Kara. She's just gonna be like making out with James. They move into the bedroom. He like pulls out his pants. She's like, "Oh, why do I feel disappointed? I need to go now." Yeah.
No, you're trying it. All right, I'm James and Wynn. Let's face it, that bromance has been budding this whole time.
I can't imagine it being Wynn.
I just can't.
I can't imagine it being James or Wynn. Like, because one of the drawbacks of these types of shows, one of the big complaints about these types of shows is that everyone has a freaking love interest. And I know they did it with Willow on Buffy, and they're okay. She was with Oz, and she liked Xander before, and then she became a lesbian. And for some reason, after that, she never had feelings for a man again. Okay, because it just always seemed like Willow
legitimately
was
though that just happens all the damn time. Just all of the damn time. Just all of the time.
I've heard that. Yeah, sure. But so I guess it could be anyone.
The spectrum of possibilities all the time. And I tried to think of like I really wasn't trying to like stereotype any particular character. I was trying to think of like, no, who would this make sense for to do as a character? I couldn't come up with any damn thing.
Yeah.
I really couldn't.
Yeah.
It's going to be a complete surprise to me when they do this. All right, go for it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Felicity.
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Yeah. And I started thinking about that when I was like, as I follow Mark Guggenheim on Twitter, and literally everything the man puts up, everything the man posts, like he's like, hey, check out the new cover for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like every response to it is, Olicity needs to be together. Olicity needs to be together. You will do this. Make Olicity be together. Like, and it's just like no one even cares about anything else on his Twitter feed.
They're saying at this point, just out of spite, he's gonna be like, you know what? No, nope.
Yeah, out of spite.
I'm gonna go as untogether as I can get.
Like the Olicity shippers, like just reading through, turned me against Olicity.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't give a shit.
You got to that point finally.
But now I kind of do.
Yeah.
I really don't want them together.
It finally happened to you.
Yep. So yeah, I can't imagine who it's going to be. It'd be kind of funny if it was Echo Kellum's character, if it was Mr. Terrific and he just suddenly became straight.
That would make me laugh.
I'm coming out as straight.
Yeah.
What? That's right. Anyway, you know what's sad is I just don't care. I don't care who it is.
I'm curious because it's a plot twist of any kind, but whatever. It's any other kind of plot twist.
Yeah. So the rumors that Batman and Batgirl are going to be popping up on the show, it's not happening. Kreisberg said that would be a neat trick if somebody could pull that off, but it's not happening.
Is he just trying to pose for the neat trick he's about to pull off by any chance? No.
Yeah. Wendy Miracle is talking about Oliver getting political. She says, we do think of this season as going back to our roots. When you come into the season, Oliver will still be out there fighting crime on his own, and he has also taken up the mantle of the city's mayor. Well, we know that. We're going to be exploring him as a hero, both in a very traditional sense and also as Green Arrow. We're going to see a whole bunch of new recruits. The city's going to have a new criminal, as well as a new vigilante inspired by him. This vigilante is based on the version created by Marv Wolfman and George Perez for the comics and will appear in the 7th episode of the 5th season. See, that's disappointing because it sounds like Vigilante's only going to be in one episode.
Vigilante could just only be in one episode and that'd be okay.
I kind of want him in more.
I don't know. I've still got Mad Dog played by a guy I like. So,
who cares? They kind of, the way they talked about it, like, oh, he's going to be like the DA or like the assistant DA or something, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on. She also Wendy Miracle also says about the new fight scenes, because Stephen Amell's talked about the fight scenes and how they're awesome. She says, I can say it looks amazing. We're now part of this TV universe where you have Game of Thrones and the way that they deal with violence and how they do their fights. So it's our attempt to do something similar. It's bloody. You're in it. We're doing a lot more first person, not necessarily point of view action. Steven has been a huge proponent of doing that, and it's going to feel real and in your face.
He was the big fan of the one-shots?
Yeah. I mean, they tried to kind of mimic Daredevil last year a little bit, and it just looked awful. I
disagreed. Like there were parts of it that looked pretty great. It's like I think I said this last time. I just wanted them to try it more. Like it felt like it was the first step to them getting this really cool thing going. Mm-hmm. But admittedly, it looked really awkward at times.
Wendy also talks about Felicity in season 5. She says she's in a very similar place to Dig. She's really grappling with what happened in Haven Rock, consumed with that guilt. Oh, good.
We're going to address that now? Cool.
She's broken up with Oliver. She's lost her company. And the one thing she has in this life is the bunker. So she's doubled down on doing that. Until she gets past what happened in Haven Rock, she's going to stay in that state of limbo. I'm kind of bored with that already. I don't even want to deal with that, but okay.
But you have to deal with that.
You kind of do.
You just have to.
Then again, you can look and say, hey, I had 2 choices. One killed millions, one killed thousands.
Yeah, but they did.
There was a gun in my head.
Like they didn't just make it a quick equation-like decision that she has no moral compunction for one way or the other. Nor did they make her like deal with the fact that she killed lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
It just got ignored in favor of like parent drama.
Well, yes, but I'm saying she had to choose one: kill millions or kill thousands.
I mean,
where's the guilt?
I completely understand.
You chose the less evil. You didn't have any other choice.
I completely understand, but on screen it feels like you have to have the character kind of deal with that, and it just didn't seem dealt with in any capacity.
It feels like you need to, but I wish you didn't have to, because it all sounds real boring to do.
No, you can do it in like 2 lines. You can have Thea come up to her and say like, hey, so I heard what happened, and I just want you to know if you need to talk to anybody, because, I mean, that's a big deal. And then Felicity just turns to her and says exactly what you just said from first person and moves on with her life, and Thea kind of, okay, we're on. We're done.
Yeah.
Dealt with it.
Yeah.
What was that?
Now, where you go with that is you do have Felicity like kind of take on that detached approach, because that's all you can do. That's the only way to really deal with something like that, I think, and still function.
Yeah, just do the math and keep chugging along.
Yeah, but you pretty much spin that into Felicity becoming like Amanda Waller.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
not
great.
Gonna do that.
No.
So someone wrote into TV Line, and TV Line, as they do, went to asking to see if they could uncover the truth behind the story. So someone wrote into TV Line and said, have you heard anything about any dead characters coming back because of the Flash's Flashpoint story? And TV Line says, since it has been revealed that Oliver Queen is among the Arrow characters affected by this tweaked timeline, one must wonder if perhaps Tommy Merlin is alive and well. Apparently they reached out to Colin Donnell, who played Tommy Merlin, and he said, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to about the possibility and how it could possibly happen. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Wow. That would make sense, though. For one reason. Apparently Diggle and Oliver's relationship is going to be off due to this this reworking. So, like, Ollie having a best friend to rely on might be good. It'd take something like Flashpoint for me to think, oh, yeah, there's a use for Tommy.
Yeah, and, it was one of those things where I've been waiting to see how they're going to bring him back. Mm-hmm. I've been saying forever that they're going to find some way to bring him back.
I know.
Not that I want it.
I keep accusing you of wanting it, and you keep insisting that, no. I just think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to happen precisely because I do not want it.
That's a damn good reason to think something might happen.
Especially when I'm thinking about Arrow. Something I am kind of excited about, Dolph Lundgren has been cast on Arrow.
Yeah, he has.
He's going to be playing a cat we heard about in season 4 named Kovar. They're going to bring him in. He's going to be this big, super badass guy. Works for the Russian government. He's not a friend of Oliver or the Bratva, they're saying. So I just really want him to say, you will lose. You will lose. Like, come on, Rocky 4.
I know. And no, you should not get that.
It's all I want. It's all I want, Guggenheim. Make it happen. Snap, buddy.
That's how he rolls.
Right. So everyone's saying that this is a confirmation that the flashbacks won't go beyond season 5. I kind of don't see that. Maybe it says that. I don't know. Maybe I'm not maybe my reading comprehension isn't up to snuff. But here's what he said. Guggenheim said, "We always said that Oliver had a 5-year journey when he was marooned on the island. This year, Oliver spends his time in the flashbacks in Russia. We know from various seeds we planted back in the pilot that he knows how to speak Russian. He became a Bratva captain. Sort of the flashback story in the first half of the year is going to involve Oliver's introduction into the Bratva. He's basically recruited into this crime organization, while at the same time, in the present day, Oliver has recruits of his own. He's a trainee in the past, trainer in the present, and I think that will give the audience the connect up thematically between present and the past." See, to me, that doesn't sound anything like we're not going to do flashbacks anymore.
Does it just sound like they're trying to keep open the possibility in case they have a good idea?
Yeah, it just sounds like they're saying, hey, it's got to connect up thematically this year. Yay!
Okay, guys, the flashbacks were terrible for like the last year, really the last couple. Yeah. End it. I mean, the guy was on the island for 5 years. You're in season 5. Mm-hmm. The math does not allow for any kind of hedging.
I maintain they should do flash forwards in the next season. I
like the idea of flash forwards. They seem a bit complicated in certain cases, especially when you have something like Legends of Tomorrow in the wing. But yeah, I could definitely see myself enjoying them. But man, come on.
I feel like they've already started doing it. It is time. They did it last year with Oliver at the grave.
Yeah, and those work, but those are just those feel like more like quickie framing device kind of flash forwards.
That's all the flashbacks are, really.
Yeah, but they were informative to begin with. Now they're just kind of
just there.
Yeah, they're just plopped into the plot.
Well, you know what's not there?
Constantine.
Yeah. That's right. You're good. Greg Berlanti says that they're not bringing Constantine back. It was a one shot.
Yeah.
He says Constantine exists in a certain place in the DC world and universe. They're kind of internally examining what they want to do with the character next, talking about DC. Phil Klimmer, though, says that it would be a sin not to include Matt Ryan's Constantine as a character on Legends of Tomorrow, even though he's like, it won't be anytime soon.
Yep.
Like, thanks, you dicks.
Although, to be fair, this time last year, they were still saying, look, we have no plans to... And then, like, a month from now, I was like, all right, he's guaranteed in season 5, or episode 5.
Yeah.
All things are possible.
Right, so Legends is getting a 13-episode order.
Also, both of those are hedging, just to be sure.
Yeah. Legends is getting a 13-episode order. They're not saying that they're not going to give another... that they're not going to, take the option for the back 9. So, hooray, that means that the writers won't know how many episodes they have to work with. But they said in this first season, it didn't perform as well as it should have, Pedowitz said. That's Mark Pedowitz, CW president, says Legends did not perform as well in his first season as it should have. He admitted that they made mistakes, but they've been fixed for season 2. So, okay. I am bummed that they don't actually know how many they have, because that does, believe it or not, screw with the performance of the writing. It really does.
Hugely. Especially on a show that has that much landscape, I'll say, that they can cover. Mm-hmm. I mean, God, they can go anywhere they want. They just have to pick a place and be there and tell a story. So you don't want to get in the last few episodes and be wondering about more episodes.
All right, that's how you get some random ass bad guy coming back like Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we've written almost the entire thing. Well, what do we do? I don't know. Vandal? Well, here we go again.
He is clearly in the room, present, and ready to act. So
right.
Which wouldn't do any good now, because we're writing it, so it wouldn't actually show up anywhere for a month or two. But anyway.
So Lance Henriksen has been cast as Obsidian, and that's kind of a crazy choice. So I'm down with it. Dig that cat. He was on Millennium, so that's what I know him from. He's been in a whole bunch of stuff, though, over the years. He's 76 years old, so they're like shit. That's, okay.
Yeah. That's a choice.
Obsidian being the son of, as I corrected myself last week, being the son of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and Thorn. So yeah, and they released an image of the new Vixen, startlingly like the first Vixen that we saw.
Yeah.
So whatever. They're introducing another animated thing, TV show, I guess, or CW Seed show called Freedom Fighters: The Ray, and it's going to be in the Arrow Legends of Tomorrow universe, and produced by Greg Berlanti. And they are, well, here's what they had to say about it. Raymond Ray Terrell was a reporter who discovered a group of government scientists working on a secret project to turn light into a weapon of mass destruction. But before he could report on his findings, the project head exposed Ray to a genetic light bomb. The bomb failed to kill him and instead gifted Ray with light-based powers. With these abilities, Ray realized he could go beyond reporting on injustice. He could take action to help stop it. Calling himself the Ray, he was recruited by Uncle Sam. Dude, we're doing Uncle Sam?
Yep.
And the Freedom Fighters.
Yeah.
To fight violence and oppression wherever it exists. The series will debut on the CW's digital channel in 2017, and network boss Mark Pedowitz told reporters at the Television Critics Association summer press tour that it will likely result in the Ray showing up in one of the CW's live-action Arrowverse shows, just like Vixen. He says, without a question, that is the way we are intending to build these things out. But they have also said that he'll be gay.
Yeah.
That was like the first thing they said. They're like, he's gay! Like,
you really buried
okay.
their lead on that one. I say their lead because, again, what the fuck ever, man? Okay.
Right.
To me, like, the most, you pointed out the most amazing piece of news in any of that. Uncle Sam? Like, Freedom Fighters? For reals?
For reals.
With a Z?
With two Z's, sir.
Shit.
Two Z's on either side of a bat wieners, which is what we're about to pop into.
There you go.
So I'm out of news, but I guess we should wrap up the news and kind of get into this giveaway stuff. Now, like I said at the top of the show, we have this new giveaway going on. If you go give us 5-star rating and reviews on iTunes, you're going to be entered into this contest. We're going to randomly select someone out of 10. Every 10 reviews, we'll select one person randomly with the help of a generator, a random number generator, to
it's
to
not
receive
just
a prize.
like a 10-sided die or anything.
Right, yeah, no.
There'll be computers involved.
Right. So the winner will get a trade paperback or a Blu-ray or a DVD, $15 or less. We'll ship that out to you. Just send us the link to dconscreen@gmail.com. But that's after we do it. Now we got 5 reviews this week. We actually got 6, but one of them was a 1-star review, and it made me sad because he said that we had no integrity and that we were basically I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said that he basically said that we had no integrity and we were just giving things positive reviews. And man, I say to this cat, give us another shot if you're still listening, or message us at dconscreen@gmail.com. I hate it because we can't really respond to it except for on the show on these iTunes reviews. But we've shit on a lot of DC properties on this show.
Yeah, it's bad. I just go back and listen to anything we've done for God, the overwhelming part of Arrow or Lucifer. That feels like someone who maybe just tried us for Suicide Squad and didn't like it at all, and we kind of liked it, and yeah.
I felt bad about that.
What are you gonna do?
I feel like I hate feeling like I've let somebody down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, so anyway,
but in this case, I feel like the movie let them down, and we were the Flotsam and Jetsam.
You'll always make me laugh by saying Flotsam and Jetsam.
I do like doing that.
Anyway,
too.
I do. So our first 5-star review comes from G Tortoise. Says, great podcast, love all the DC news, awesome hearing DC news with real opinions that aren't blindly pro-DC and doesn't buy into the whole DC versus Marvel BS. Worth a listen. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I very much hate the DC versus Marvel bullshit.
No.
So thank you.
Not our game. We love the shit out of those movies.
Yeah.
And the shows. And the Netflix shit.
We do.
Name me one of those products that I am not absolutely up to date on. Go ahead. Name me. I've watched the Luke Cage trailers. I even watched the damn Iron Fist trailer that's basically nothing.
You know how hard it is for me to not just grab Marvel news and just be like, and Iron Fist. Oh, wait, no.
And did you see they're going to probably cast Cable with this guy that doesn't quite look right?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because I was talking to Chris White, our buddy, and he's like, "Oh man, look at this guy's. He doesn't quite do it. And I'm like, "Yeah, he doesn't look good." Well, you know who he should do, and he sends me a picture of another guy. I'm like, "Nah, he doesn't do it either. None of these people look like Cable." Anyway,
we just need more Dolph Lundgrens in the world.
We dude. I told him. I was like, dude, you know who should play Cable? Dolph Lundgren. Anyway, this is why we are friends. Mm-hmm. All right, so Havoc 2 says, these guys are fun. Found the show through the Suicide Squad cast. Thanks, guys. And I'm happy I ended up checking them out. It's obvious from the get-go that they know what they're talking about, and there's no blind love or hate. I feel like everything gets a fair assessment. Dude, thank you. That's an awesome review.
Yes.
Number 3, John Lynette. I'm assuming that's how you say that name. Relaxed podcast. That's what we were going for. That includes all DC news. I am a big fan of this podcast. It may seem a bit slow at first. Well, we are. But David and Jason's commentary and banter kind of grows on you. Like a fungus.
We're just trying to keep up. That's it.
There is always an abundance
He's
of
talking
episodes.
about, like, turning your head to the left too far and realizing a sloth has crept up the right side of your leg. That's what we are.
Right.
DC's least favorite and hopefully fair sloth.
Hiya. There is always an abundance of episodes, especially during the TV season, as they review all DC TV shows. It's a much more relaxed podcast compared to other DC podcasts. There is not an episode where I don't crack up laughing with these guys. Great job, and keep up the good work. Thank you, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
I'm happy to read such good things. I mean, you know, it gives me a warm feeling.
It does. It does.
In places, I don't know. 4, Chris Rim. A lot of fun. First off, if you don't like cursing with your comic-related news, this may not be the podcast for you. Lucky for me, I love it.
True shit.
These guys are hilarious, informative, uncensored, and very fair towards what's right, wrong, and, quote, just okay with the movies we love, or love to hate, so much. Subscribe! And finally, number 5, Sir Dork. Sir Dork 730. Awesome. 2 great, knowledgeable dudes who keep you up to date with everything going on with DC Comics representations in movies and on TV. I listen to you guys every week. Keep it up. Thank you for listening to us every week. Thank all of you cats for listening.
Everybody involved there. Thank you so much.
Even the ones who haven't written reviews yet. Like, even the ones who hate us and keep listening to us because they have like some kind of sick need to be angry while they're listening to a podcast. Thank you too.
Yeah. And I'm going to speak now to the other 5 people who are thinking, so one of us is going to get that free graphic novel? Thank you in advance for writing in your review.
Yeah, of course. It's every 10 people. It's that 1 out of every 10 people. So we have to have 5 more reviews.
That's what I'm saying.
For the first giveaway.
We gotta go. Those 5 guys have to hop in. Guys or girls, obviously, have to hop in and cast their hook, cast their bait.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're in a foreign country, kind of just drop us a line. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. DCOnscreen@gmail.com.
That is
drop us a line and be
obviously
like, hey,
unfair disadvantage, and we apologize. It's
an unfair disadvantage. Quite honestly, it's a pain in the ass to try to figure out where the reviews are on foreign iTunes stores. I know how to do it. It's just very time consuming. Like our buddy Eli Oppelders, dude, in like the Netherlands.
Yeah.
He just dropped us a line and said, hey man, I did this over here. Check out the screenshot. And we were like, right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also,
that was for the art.
Great
that
tattoo,
was for the
man.
art contest. Dude, that kid, man.
Respect.
I don't mean kid in a diminutive way, but that dude tattooed an Adam Hughes Harley Quinn on the inside of his thigh. That shit's tender.
Respect.
And even Adam Hughes gave him a salute on Twitter, man.
Right.
So
I mean, that was balls out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, those are our reviews. Those are the reviews we got this week. I don't even think I said reviews the second time. I was
We'll get there.
Because,
as always,
well, my lips are going numb.
Yeah. I think it's time you had a tall glass of water.
I needs my water. Well, I'm not going to drink water. I'm going to go get a Diet Coke.
No, sure, it's a Diet Coke, but
hey, Diet Coke, you want to sponsor us?
Tall glass of something that's got at least some water in it.
Right. So, I think that wraps it up for this episode of DC On Screen. Unless you've got something else, man.
No, we've been at this for a minute. It is time.
Yeah, and that Star Trek interview I did was like 2 hours long, so I'm like into my fourth hour of podcasting this week.
That's the spirit. You're trying to get warmed up for the fall. I mean, 4 hours for us in the fall?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
That's like, you know.
That's the... You just like coughed a little bit. You got your throat warmed up. That's it. You stretch your legs. That's... Mm-hmm. We're barely past like Arrow at that point.
Oh, another great reason you guys should all subscribe. Figure out what we're doing. Just every day is something new.
Right.
It's just so much to listen to. Don't you want to hear us like every day of your life?
Like 25
in droves,
people
I
just
suspect.
Exited a program and like pulled their cars onto the side of the road to be able to concentrate long enough to unsubscribe right then. Because the idea of that was so horrible.
And 150 people just punched right through their monitor.
Right. One guy just literally propelled himself from his own moving vehicle.
And thousands just threw their iPhone out the window.
Yeah.
Just said,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
$700-800, who cares? Nuts to that.
Do that all you want, buddy. We're available on Android as well.
Yes, we are. As well as Google Play, iTunes, DC On Screen for every episode of DC On Screen, as well as things that we cross over into. I throw those up too, just to let you guys know. We are proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network, giantsizeteamup.com. Go check out our buddies, Steve West, he just had a birthday, and Jacob Raspberry at Screensplosion. And check out our buddy Scott Madison at the Next Time Podcast. And for shits and giggles, if you're a Trekkie, go check out the Prime Direction with Sean Ray. I don't know what else to say. I love you all. Until next time, keep some damn DC on your screen.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, oh, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.